I was just incarcerated for 37 years for somebody else's crime.
Ooh.
I was in a plane crash when I was 16 years old back in Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
Today, we're counting down 7 of the saddest talent show stories that stopped our hearts. Born blind and with autism, Cody Lee faced challenges from the moment he entered the world. Doctors told his parents he might never speak, but his mother never gave up on him. She spent years helping him discover the one thing that made him feel truly free: music. On stage, Cody needed his mom to guide him to the piano, but once his fingers touched the keys, the room transformed.
Places in my life and time.
His story wasn't just about talent. It was about a young man who overcame every barrier society placed in front of him. Archie Williams stood on the AGT stage with a smile, but behind it was 37 years of stolen freedom. At just 22, he was wrongfully convicted of a crime he didn't commit.
I couldn't believe it was really happening. I knew I was innocent. I didn't commit a crime. But being a poor black kid, I didn't have the economic ability to fight the state of Louisiana.
How did you get through?
Freedom is of the mind.
Yes.
I went to prison, but I never let my mind go to prison.
Decades passed in a small prison cell, while the real culprit lived free. He found strength through singing, performing for fellow inmates as a way to escape the walls around him. Finally, DNA evidence proved his innocence.
And we knew at the time of trial those fingerprints didn't match Archie. So in 1999, we made our first request to get access to the fingerprints because by then the FBI had a database, and we said if we can search these fingerprints in the database, we can maybe identify who they belong to.
When he finally sang for the world, it wasn't just a performance. It was a man reclaiming his life after nearly 4 decades of darkness. When Susan Boyle walked on stage, the audience laughed before she even opened her mouth. All her life, she was underestimated, mocked for her looks, bullied for her learning difficulties, and told she would never make it.
Okay, and who would you like to be as successful as?
Elaine Page.
But behind her shy smile was a lifetime of pain and loneliness. She lived alone, caring for her aging mother, putting her dreams on hold. That night on Britain's Got Talent, she didn't just sing. She proved that even the most overlooked person can hold the most extraordinary gift.
Life has killed the dream I dreamed.
Jane Marchevsky, known to the world as Nightbird, walked on stage with a quiet strength. What most didn't know was that she was battling terminal cancer.
Last time I checked, I had some cancer in my lungs, my spine, and my liver.
At just 30 years old, she had been given a 2% chance to live. She'd lost her health, her marriage, and almost all her energy, but not her hope. Her audition song, It's Okay, was written during the darkest days of her illness. When she said,
"You can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy."
It wasn't a quote, it was her truth. Mandy Harvey was a gifted singer until she lost her hearing completely at the age of 18. Imagine having your entire identity ripped away overnight. She sank into depression, thinking her music career was over forever.
I lost my hearing when I was 18, and that's where listening to music stopped. I've never heard Taylor Swift sing, I've never heard Adele sing.
When we're sitting in the car together to come home, she said, "Dad, I can't remember what your voice sounds like anymore."
But instead of giving up, she found a new way, feeling the vibrations of music through the floor and trusting her perfect pitch memory. When she returned to the stage, barefoot, to feel the rhythm, it wasn't just music we heard, it was courage.
'Cause as I know the old.
I was in a plane crash when I was 16 years old back in Nigeria. Oh, wow.
At 16, Kechi survived a plane crash that claimed the lives of 107 people, including her closest friends.
On December 10th, 2005, I was coming back home for the Christmas holidays with 60 other students from my boarding school. I remember I was sitting in an aisle seat, and right next to me was my closest friend. The plane took off, and everything was normal. It was about maybe 20 minutes to landing. There was this loud, like, searing, metal scraping sound. I grabbed my friend's hand, and I held her really tightly and looked into her eyes, and I had no idea that that would be the last time that I would see her.
Over 60% of her body was covered in burns, and she endured more than 100 surgeries. But she refused to hide. Her voice became her therapy, and when she sang, you could hear the strength it took to survive. At just 15, Callista was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer. Her teenage years were filled with hospital rooms instead of classrooms.
The doctor said, your child has cancer.
There are words that you just don't want to hear, and yeah, it definitely took my breath away when I heard that.
She lost her hair, her energy, and many of her friends, but not her spirity. Music gave her something to fight for. When she sang, she wasn't just performing. She was proving that even in your weakest moments, your voice can be your strongest weapon. Which story touched you the most? Let us know in the comments.